After the release of Halo 4, there was a DLC added on later that introduced Spartan armor that is based off of American football. It's called Ricochet, and it never made its way into the Master Chief Collection. Also, all DLC armor that was added in later also did not work with Halo 4 Spartan Ops, and maybe one of the reasons why it never actually made its way into the Master Chief Collection, though maybe one day that could change. It seems like Bungie has always had a thing for hippos in one way or another, hiding various hippos throughout the Halo games that they worked on. In Halo Combat Evolved, the shotgun shells have a hippo on it. In Halo 2, on the level Headlong, you can see a bunch of hippos on the construction panels. And in Halo 3 on Foundry, if you zoom into the pile of trash on the floor, you can find a little hippo figurine just chilling there. In Halo Reach on Winter Contingency, the random man in the white jacket that's face down on the floor actually uses the same player model as Catherine Halsey, who you see later on in the game. In ODST on the level Data Hive, you can actually jump up into the vents and just kind of crawl through them and explore them a bit. It doesn't really lead to anything, but it is kind of cool you can go up there, and it makes sense why you can hear the buggers early on when they're flying through the vents. During the development of Halo 3, Bungie ate over 20,000 pounds of pizza and drank 24,000 gallons of soda. During puberty, brutes release pheromones that apparently smell so bad it can make a human throw up. They also can convey emotion this way. At exactly 6:36 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on February 28th, 2009, in a 3-minute and 19-second match of Infection on Foundry, 4 players participated in Halo 3's 1 billionth match, which is kind of cool that this was something that was published by Bungie back in the day. During the earliest stages of development for Halo 4, Commander Del Rio may have been planned to have this old-timey mustache that later was changed in a redesign. Still kind of interesting to look at. Technically, if we look to the Orion Project, which were the original Spartan ones, which were created to combat insurrectionists all across human colonies, they sort of technically made them a police force, which technically could mean that my traffic safety Spartan could be canon. If you look closely at the Halo Combat Evolved cover, you can see that the Banshee in the background are actually in their parked stance and not their flying stance. Also on the cover, Master Chief is missing his index finger, which is something that was later fixed in the Game of the Year edition of Halo Combat Evolved. Captain Jacob Keyes of the UNSC is voiced by Pete Stacker, whose ridiculous readings of Budweiser's Real American Heroes / Real Men of Genius commercials made them so successful, the beer company decided to eventually release a CD of the ad commercials themselves. In 1988, Halo composer Marty O'Donnell composed a jingle for Flintstones Vitamins. When Halo 4 released, some activists claimed that the game releasing on the election day in 2012 would keep young voters away from the polls and therefore change the outcome of the election. Why vote when you could play Halo? The drops of water that fall off a waterfall on the Halo ring fall 2 meters farther than they would on Earth. A Warthog has a maximum speed between 62 miles per hour to 78 miles per hour. Why you would ever need to know the exact number is unknown, but maybe it'll come up one day and that's something interesting. Master Chief might be suffering from vitamin D deficiency because he spends too much time in his armor. In the books, his skin is described as too pale. In a quote, it says he had serious eyes, a firm mouth, and a strong jaw. His skin hadn't been exposed to the sun for a long time, and it was white, too white, like something that lived in the deep recesses of a cave, much like a lot of the Halo player base. The character Wallace Jenkins, one of the Marines who dies prior to the level 343 Guilty Spark, actually served in the military for 27 years, the length of the entire Human Covenant War. And at the time of his death, he still was a private, so he probably wasn't that great of a soldier after all. Within the Covenant, grunts actually trade human media, like soap operas and sitcoms, on the black market. So there is a chance that grunts have purchased a season of Big Bang Theory on the black market and are watching it right now, for whatever reason. On the level 2 betrayals, there actually weren't 2 betrayals. There was a cut medal in Halo 3 called Cheney Mania, which would have popped up when shooting your own teammates with a shotgun. Obviously being a reference to Dick Cheney shooting someone during a hunting accident with a shotgun. Fortunately, no one died in the accident. Shortly before the release of Halo 2 Vista, it was discovered that deep within the files, there was a placeholder picture of one developer pulling down his pants and showing his bare ass, and this discovery led to having the game delayed since the ESRB had to add the rating of nudity to the game prior to the placeholder file getting removed later on. Back before the release of Halo Combat Evolved, Bungie didn't think anyone would bring their heavy 2001 TVs to other people's houses, so System Link was originally only allowed for 4 Xboxes to be hooked up, even though it did technically support 16 players. They figured only kids in their college dorms would ever take advantage of this feature, and this was actually changed for Halo 2, and you could have LAN parties with 16 Xboxes. With the hype that was was the release of Halo 2. When it actually released, in the first 24 hours of release, on average, Halo 2 sold 27 copies every single second. When Halo 4 was announced at E3, it was originally supposed to be part of a new trilogy called the Reclaimer Trilogy, though this later was changed and they retitled it to the Reclaimer Saga before kind of avoiding using titles for the later Halo games when we got closer to Halo Infinite. But still, back when Halo 4 was announced, it kind of low-key was announced that Halo 5 and Infinite would eventually come as well. On June 16th, 2018 in Rosemont, Illinois, there was a pre-launch test of Fireteam Raven at the local Dave & Buster's. Halo Spartan Assault was actually the first game in the Halo franchise where you can see Jackals use melee attacks and plasma grenades. When Halo Wars was first announced, Doritos hosted a sweepstakes contest where the winner would get to voice a role in the game, though to this day it's not known who won the contest or which character they voiced, or even if the line even made it into the actual game. If 1 billion grunts would have to fight the sun would obviously win. Canonically, Buck's blood type is O negative, making him a universal blood donor, but also O negative is the hardest type to match. On the level standoff, if you take a sniper rifle and zoom into the moon, you can see one of the game developers and even get an achievement for it. But if you actually turn around and zoom in on one of the satellites, you can see another game developer that does not give you an achievement. Back in the Halo 3 days, you could pick a service tag for your Spartan. However, there were some tags that were restricted, which you were not allowed to use, like N64 or A01, which looked like AOL. Also P52, which looked like PS2. However, it's interesting because some service tags that resemble other PlayStation or Nintendo topics, like NES, PSP, Wii, PlayStation 1, and PlayStation 3 are not banned in Halo 3 and could be used. Back in the Bungie era of Halo games, the team mascot for the red team were snakes, and for the blue team were eagles. However, in Halo Reach, that feature of having a mascot was cut out, and when 343 took things over, Halo 4 brought back team mascots again, this time adding different animals for each color team, but also changing the red team and the blue team to sharks and stingrays, respectively. On the planet Harvest, mostly Americans live there. If at the end of Halo 3, Sergeant Johnson was turned into a dog instead of being killed, he would actually be between 364 and 389 dog years, because Sergeant Johnson was between 70 and 75 during the events of Halo 3. The reason he didn't look that old, though, was because some of his years were spent in cryo sleep. In Halo the Master Chief Collection, there is a total of 700,684,320 possible emblem combinations that you can make. Trust us, we counted. On the Halo 2 multiplayer map Turf, the description actually says that though they dominate on open terrain, many scarabs have fallen victim to the narrow streets of Earth's cities, insinuating that the scarabs that walk across urban cities like Mombasa may occasionally trip between the narrow streets and completely collapse. Also, Halo 2's Colossus has an interesting description too, with numerous scientific expeditions have failed to reveal what the Forerunners intended with all this damn gas. The hidden plasma rifle scarab gun on the campaign Metropolis is actually not canon. The Spartan laser is actually one of the most expensive small arms known to be produced by the UNSC. It costs 218,000 credits, more than the cost of 4 fully armed Warthogs, 134 assault rifles, or over 7,266 frag grenades. Soon after I Love Bees became a popular form for promoting Halo 2, someone bought the domain name I Love Peas, and then went on to auction it on eBay, claiming it is guaranteed to generate 1 million hits in the first week due to the popularity of the I Love Bees site. The starting bid was $1,000, with the buy it now price set for $50,000, and it never sold. In Halo 3 ODST, Rookie is approximately awake for 186 seconds, or a little over 3 minutes from the time he gets woken up to the time he gets knocked out again at the beginning of the campaign, and then he just sleeps through most of the events of ODST. Despite the members of Blue Team all being kidnapped and raised together at the age of 6, some members still have unique accents from their home countries, as seen in Halo 5 Guardians. In the earlier stages of Halo 2's development, the Arbiter's original character name was going to be Dervish. But hey, if you watched this far into the video, you might as well go watch some of our other videos, because you stayed interested enough in these weird random Halo facts that are useless. Just imagine the things that we've done on our channel optional that we didn't think were useless. Also hit the like button down below, because if this video does well enough, we'll maybe do a 20 minutes of Halo useless facts in the future, because that'll just get litty. On the Halo 3 ODST level Uplift Reserve, you can see this highway right up here, which is the same highway you drive on in the level Coastal Highway, and on Coastal Highway you can look down and see the same bridge from Uplift Reserve.
You can currently trade in Halo Infinite to GameStop for $22, which is equal to the Taco Bell Supreme Taco Party Pack. That sounds like a deal to me.
Master Chief's glove armor was changed between Halo 2 and 3, despite the fact that this makes no sense. To further reiterate that this makes no sense, there's even a secret grunt voice line referencing the change.
Look at his gloves! He'll crush us, way! Hey, does he have different numbers of dots on his gloves?
Good trailer. We Are ODST's won Best Trailer of 2009 on MissCinema.com.
After the fall of Reach, MOAs almost went extinct. However, some still survive on remote locations of the planet not glassed by the Covenant. Despite this, people eat MOAs, even though baby MOAs would make for cool pets.
That hologram on a ceiling in the flare room on the Halo 3 map Guardian, it's actually using a NASA stock image of the planet Mars. Likewise, each of the Halo Ring holograms on the mission The Covenant in Halo 3 are also using NASA stock images of different moons and planets throughout our solar system.
Tombstone, the Halo 2 map, was originally just exclusive to the Xbox version. It was not officially made available for Halo 2 for Windows Vista, but modders were able to port Tombstone to Halo 2 Vista. It is possible that Tombstone was named after the Arizona city of Tombstone, where in 1881, Wyatt Earp, his brothers, and Doc Holliday participated in the most infamous shootout of the North America's Wild West, the gunfight at the OK Corral. This would also keep with the Western theme of the name of Tombstone's predecessor, Hang 'em High.
Even though it wasn't drivable, the forklift technically made its official debut in Halo 3 and has appeared in every Halo title since.
When Halo and Fortnite collaborated, Red vs. Blue made an episode in Fortnite to promote the Master Chief skin. Blood Gulch was actually recreated in Fortnite for a limited time game mode.
Cut ideas from Halo 1 and Halo 2 like engineers, flooded Mombasa tunnels, and first-person drop pod sequences were later brought back for ODST, but were originally intended to be in older titles.
As the rookie snaps his SMG into his pot's weapon holster, one might notice that the flashlight is active.
The Warthog physics in CE are so great, you could do a 360 spin on the big jump on the Maw. You can also just barely touch other players and kill them.
So technically, as far as the game files are concerned, the Mantis in Halo 4 is actually a biped, like any other living character, which means the Mantis is technically alive, just like Chief, Cortana, Elites, Didact, and so on. It's not actually a vehicle as far as Halo 4 is concerned. You can actually prove this on the China version of MCC, because the built-in Chinese censorship features makes dead bodies fade away, and if you destroy a Mantis, it will also fade away, just like any other bodies, but other vehicles that get destroyed will not fade away.
In Halo Combat Evolved, some tricks and jumps are easier to do in Legendary difficulty because your grenade does less damage in Legendary to make the game harder, and since your grenades are weaker in Legendary, the survivability of doing a trick jump is also higher.
As of Halo 3, any files pertaining to instance geometry are named poop, and in Halo Reach, there's even a file named really big fucking poop. Why?
Originally in Halo 4 Spartan Ops, players would drop in drop pods to the level, but they ended up cutting this.
The Hunt the Truth campaign for Halo 5 Guardians revealed that Halo 2's cover art is based on an in-universe photograph taken by Benjamin Giard during the Battle of Mombasa.
The French disc copy of Halo 3 ODST was made in Germany.
Justin Bieber was spotted at a Halo Reach launch party.
If you break out of the map in ODST, there's a ton of area you can go explore that aren't loaded incorrectly.
This skull has a gold tooth.
Also in the China version of MCC, with the built-in censorship features for Halo 1 and 2, dead bodies will actually shrink down until there's nothing left. But actually, if you zoom in super close with like a sniper rifle or something like that, you can actually see that the bodies did not vanish. They're still there, they're just shrunk down really super tiny, but they are still there.
You can buy a Halo Fireteam Raven arcade machine for only $16,000.
The helmet the Bumblebee pilot is seen wearing at the end of the level Pillar of Autumn is a reference to Ghost in the Shell. Also, the drop pod is called a Bumblebee, in case you didn't know that either. Speaking of Ghost in the Shell references, the Scarab seems to have been based off of the mech seen at the end of the movie, with the movie design even appearing verbatim in some early Halo 2 storyboards.
Halo 3's Blackout codename was Moonlight Sonata during its development due to the level's dark nighttime sky, and as an allusion to one of Beethoven's works.
In all games prior to Halo Reach, all jackals shot left-handed and are the only Covenant species to do so. However, in Halo Reach, Halo 4, Halo 5, and Halo Infinite, jackals shoot with their right hands and carry their shields with their left hands. That makes it harder to shoot through the gap in a jackal's energy shield, as all player characters in Halo are right-handed.
If we look at the base set of maps from the original Combat Evolved, not including the PC or Mac maps, over the years, 10 out of 13 of those maps would be remade in later Halo games, bringing it to a 76% remake rate. The only maps that have not had an official remake, excluding Forge remakes, are Rat Race, Chiron TL34, and Boarding Action.
You can buy the Walmart Halo 3 cardboard cutout display from 2007 for $500 on eBay.
Halo Starfighter was an internal pitch developed by a team within 343 Industries early during the development time frame of Halo Infinite, which would have been a dedicated spaceship flighting game inspired by the game in Long Night of Solace.
The rookie in ODST's real name is Jonathan Doherty, as in John Doe, as in the name given to unidentified male corpses. This is because Rookie speaks about as much as a corpse does, which is to say that he never speaks at all throughout the course of the game, and also he is dead.
It costs $20 to buy the Master Chief set in Fortnite, which is equivalent to 5 4for4s at Wendy's.
Even though it wasn't drivable, the forklift technically made its official debut in Halo 3 and has appeared in every Halo title since.
In this picture of Master Chief's childhood bedroom, which I have no idea where this is from, but this is on Halopedia, so I think it's official, there's a bowling trophy on the shelf.
You can play as Cat pre-headshot in Gears of War 5.
Did you guys know that hunters don't have a set height? Because they are a collective of worm-like creatures, their height ranges from 11 to 13 feet. However, in an episode of Halo Legends called The Duel, one hunter appears to be 50 feet tall, and Frank O'Connor actually explained that, saying that hunters' appearances or height can change due to the gravity and environment that they're in. Another fun fact is that despite being on the cover of Halo Spartan Assault, there are no hunters in the game.
There's also a very rare and obscure Mac version, a Mac OS version of Halo 1 for PC, or Halo Combat Evolved. It actually ran pretty well back in the day. It had a few more advanced features than the actual PC version of Halo. But that Mac version of Halo 1, it no longer works on modern Macs anymore. In fact, it stops working with Mac OS Catalina. And even before that, with Mac OS Mojave, it already starts working very poorly and with a lot of issues. So it really only runs well on much older versions of Mac OS.
Sergeant Johnson's voice actor David Scully also voices Nemesis in Mech Assault 2 Lone Wolf. I've never played a Mech Assault game, so I don't know who that is.
On the Halo 3 map Longshore, they put these spikes here to keep seagulls away. Also on Longshore, the dinghies aren't actually that good. They'll sink if they're stood on.
The large monitor on cold storage is actually one of the very few objects that spike grenades in Halo 3 will not stick to. Instead, if you throw a spike grenade at them, it'll actually just bounce off.
In Halo Reach's Forge, if you build walls around the kill ball will still be visible, but it won't kill you unless you have direct sightline with the core.
The reason the first Halo game has Combat Evolved tacked on is simply to appease marketing research terms. Bungie was firm in the name Halo, but Microsoft wasn't happy about the lack of a descriptive name, so a compromise was reached whether Bungie wanted it or not. Speaking of names of Halo games, the original working title for Halo was Monkey Nuts, which was later changed to Blam because the project lead, Jason Jones, was too embarrassed to tell his mom that he was working on a game called Monkey Nuts. Monkey Nuts Combat Evolved doesn't really have the same ring to it anyways.
A lot of people don't like this fact, but all the way back in Halo Combat Evolved, Master Chief is technically referred to as a cyborg in more than one different occasion, both in-game and in documentation.
Another fun fact in Halo 3 specifically is that when a Marine, or really when any character gets infected by the Flood while they're still alive, they're technically not getting transformed into the Flood. They're actually just dying until they actually completely die first. And then once they're dead, the game actually swaps out their character with that of the Flood combat form. So that is actually how Flood transformations work in Halo 3's engine.
Anatork is Cortana backwards.
During the last days before Halo 2 servers were officially shut down, the Did You Know box in the search screen of the matchmaking section displayed messages, which were changed to comical style about Halo 2's features and exploits, like saying SMG starts were a mistake or that the BXR was actually an exploit.
If you pick the colors purple and yellow in Halo 3, you can look like a Minnesota Vikings fan.
Engineers technically aren't living biological creatures, they're synthetic and programmed by the Forerunners, but they're low-key adorable, so people will forgive it.
Master Chief can run 65.2 miles per hour, but Halo fans still cry when he speed walks.
The plural of mongoose is actually pronounced mongooses because the vehicle is named after the mammal and not the bird. There's an official commendation in Halo 5 that confirms this.
The collector's edition statue of Master Chief versus a Hunter that was made for the movie Forward Unto Dawn had free shipping.
Now, during the Prophet of Regret boss fight in Halo 2, once you kill him, his character is actually swapped out for a different version of himself that's hidden outside the map on top of the building that you're in. You can actually see the swap happen if you play it in slow motion. Once you kill the Prophet of Regret, for a split second, you could see his body being swapped for the other one. And if you actually get out of the map using like acrophobia score or something, and go on top of the building and you push his like other body off the edge of it map so that he dies. First of all, the other body is like a very shrunk down, tiny, like invisible version of him. All you'll see is like a little green orb up there. But if you push it till it dies and then you go back in the map and you kill Regret, then when it swaps the bodies, it's actually like, it swaps out like a glitched version because it's supposed to be dead, but it's also like messed up at the same time. It's like one of the weird things that can happen during that boss fight.
Back in Halo Combat Evolved, if you're playing on LAN or locally, it would give you a randomly assigned Halo name from this list of names. Interestingly enough, Donut and Caboose are both preset names from Combat Evolved and may have served as inspiration in Red vs. Blue for the names of these characters, though I'm just speculating here. But before we get into the rest of the facts, you may have noticed that some other energy drink companies might be having a bunch of controversy right now. It might seem like the world is just burning down in their offices for whatever reason, but that's not the case when it comes to Gamer Subs, who have hooked us up with our own discount code. Seriously, these guys have been nothing but awesome to us, and while this isn't a direct sponsorship by any means, it's just a commission-based thing. Luke and I genuinely love the taste of Gamer Subs because it's 0 calorie, 0 sugar, that gives you that caffeine kick that you might need through the day. I don't want to go on for too long about it, but if you guys are now in need of a new energy drink and you want to support the content that we make, you can use our code Rocket Sloth at checkout. It's like giving a tip to Rocket Sloth, but then you also get cool stuff in return. And if you're not big on energy drinks, they have really cool waifu merchandise. Dim loves this stuff, so maybe that stuff would be up your alley.
Master Chief weighs 286 pounds, which is equivalent to 286 1-pound rocks.
Originally, Halo, the franchise that we all directly think of the Xbox when we think about, was actually going to be a Mac game. Just like later on, when Halo did become an RTS with Halo Wars, the original Halo game actually started its life as an RTS.
In Halo Infinite, you could drive around in the Warthog with all 4 tires blown off.
The Battle of Shadow and Light content update for Halo 5 Guardians released on November 18th, 2015.
Halo Infinite and Destiny 2 were blood relatives. Well, whatever the equivalent of blood is in relation to computer software. Both games run on a modified version of Bungie's proprietary engine known as Blam. The current engine name for Halo Infinite is Slipspace, and the current Destiny engine is known as Subscribed Willy Also. That last part isn't true, I'm just chilling out my channel in the middle of a Rocket Sloth video.
GameStop is currently selling Halo 4 for 99 cents, which means Halo 4 would be cheaper than some items on the McDonald's dollar menu.
In Halo 2 specifically, dead bodies are actually not dead at all. In fact, if you zoom in close to a dead body, if you zoom on their face and then you like shoot them or punch them or something like that, they'll actually flinch to that. They'll start blinking and just react to you attacking their dead body. So they're actually still alive, and it's pretty freaky, but just a little fun fact there.
Since Halo 4, multiplayer has been integrated into the Halo series canon as a Spartan training simulation known as War Games. Originally, Halo CE almost didn't have a multiplayer mode. The featured multiplayer mode that ended up becoming such a huge thing and things that people have played for almost 20 years was actually whipped up in the last couple of weeks and added to the game at the very last minute. Without that happening, Halo CE would have been a purely single player game.
Starting with Halo 5, you can control your vehicle's position in midair.
A lot of people don't know this, but Halo stole their character Master Chief from a small indie game called Fortnite.
Marcus P. Stacker is a recurring Marine throughout the Halo series named after and voiced by Peter Stacker, but better known as the voice of Captain Keyes.
If you play Halo 2 on the Xbox 360, for whatever reason, occasionally certain structures or player models will just burn in on your screen while you're playing, though it's not permanent.
This is the Halo Wars 2 placeholder logo box used on Creative Assembly's website before the official one was revealed.
In Halo 5's Forge, you could break past the hard limit of the physics budget.
You probably knew this one already, but the IWHBYD skull is short for I would have been your daddy, a quote from Sergeant Johnson in Halo Combat Evolved. The full quote is, I would have been your daddy, but the dog beat me over the fence.
Over the years, there's been various hints that elites and humans may have romantic feelings towards each other in certain instances. Not only is it so subtly hinted at in one of the books that Vale has a thing for that red elite from the Halo 3 4-player co-op campaign, which is canon, or vice versa. There is even an audio log in Halo 5 where an elite has a love poem for Spartan Palmer.
Despite popular belief, Noble 6 dies at the end of Halo Reach. Please shut up.
Halo 3 has 39,377 lines of dialogue.
My oldest map still available for download is Tornado in Halo 3. One of my most popular maps, Tokyo Drift, is also one of the maps I dislike the most.
Captain Lasky was born in 2510, and Master Chief was born just 1 year later in 2511. Miranda Keyes, however, was born 14 years after Master Chief.
Halo 2 Anniversary had Forge, and Halo 2 did not have Forge. This is because it's a remake.
Halo Infinite has several instances of a very high-quality sandwich scattered about the game. This is because it's actually a miniaturized version of a giant sandwich that can be found in the game world being worshipped by grunts.
Halo The Essential Visual Guide mistakenly lists the Forward Unto Dawn as appearing in Halo 3 ODST, which of course is false. They confuse it with the In Ember Clad.
Catherine Halsey first appeared in the first book of the Halo franchise, Fall of Reach, but didn't receive an indirect mention in-game until Halo 3. There's also this little plaque on Oni Alpha site in ODST posting a memorial to Catherine Halsey, who supposedly died on Reach, though it even states that no body was found.
Halo C and Halo 4 both feature the same 4 Covenant species: elites, jackals, grunts, and hunters.
This character from Forward Unto Dawn grew up to be a character in Hunt the Truth, the audio story, who is voiced by this guy.
Halo 4 has a Metacritic score of 87. If you deduct 87 points from that, it would be rated 0.
On Uplift Reserve in Halo 3 ODST, there's a pointless cave over here that you can go in.
This last one may or may not be a verified fact, but Halo seems to be the first FPS game to have a dedicated button for melee and grenades, respectively. Up till then, you would have had to have swapped to your melee weapon or grenade before being able to use it. This fact is still debated to this day, but so far I've yet to see examples of other games using these mechanics before Halo Combat Evolved.
We know that some classical music is also canon in the Halo lore. Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 3 is mentioned in Halo The Fall of Reach Chapter 1. Mahler's Symphony No. 2 is mentioned in Halo First Strike Chapter 13, and Debussy's Prelude No. 4 is mentioned in Halo Ghosts of Onyx Chapter 16.
Master Chief could have probably saved Miranda Keyes if he would have flown his Hornet through the window the same way Miranda did, instead of getting out of his Hornet, walking through the door, and taking an elevator ride up.
Also, we do not know much about the economy of the inner colonies.
Some people think that Halo 3's Narrows is a remake of Japhirophobia, and I can kind of see it, kind of.
This sign on the storm spells out fire exit in Swahili, and also fire exit in English.
Halo 2 Vista only ever had 2 total patches, and in patch number 2, they added support for the resolution of 1440 by 900.
Buck's blood type is O-, making him a universal donor.
The animated anthology special Halo Legends is actually the final piece of media to use the original Halo logo. These were some of the concept ideas for what the Halo logo could have ended up looking like, thanks to Paul Russell's Twitter account.
Gabriel Thorne, the guy from Spartan Ops, enlisted in the military before his 18th birthday with the consent of his grandparents.
The Halo Wars achievement Killjoy is a reference to the Halo 3 medal Killjoy.
Originally, the broadsword was going to be called the Turtle.
Fan favorite character Maki from the Halo TV show appears in 8 out of 9 episodes.
One time, the BBC used the UNSC logo for a news report about the United Nations Security Command.
For Halo 5's standalone Forge mode on PC, the minimum hardware requirements are an Intel Core i5 at 2.3 GHz or AMD equivalent, or a GeForce 650 Ti. I have no idea how that would run though.
This is concept art of a cave.
The book Halo Mythos released in the same month as the Warthog in Forza Horizon 3.
A Plast soda found in Halo 2 has 1 gram of protein, meaning it has 1 gram more than the Monster Energy I usually drink.
The Pelican in Flight Simulator lets you open up the cargo bay and walk through the doors to look out in the back, and and I landed it on the Space Needle, because why not? Also, it's terrifying just watching out of the back of the cargo thing when it's free falling.
In Halo 3 ODST firefight, Sergeant Johnson has the exact same body as Rookie. The Halo 4 map Skyline is in the city of Mindoro, which is named after the 7th largest island of the Philippines. The promotional ODST truck that was touring the US for like 2 months back in 2009 was 27 feet long, 14 feet wide when fully expanded, and weighing a beefy 13 tons. 343 Industries created a joke script for Halo 6 in 2016 titled Halo 6 Yapda Cuts Loose, which follows the story of a grunt called Yapda. This Halo 4 concept art of a grunt is terrifying. The M12R Rocket Warthog appeared in the following books: Halo Mythos, Shadows of Reach, and Divine Wind. The Minister of Ideology, who you probably never heard of, neither have I, because he's a minor prophet from a Halo tabletop game that I didn't even know existed until now. But interesting about him, he has 4 fingers instead of 3 like the other prophets. Probably an oversight. Staying on the topic of that Halo tabletop game, the rulebook has 129 pages. In 2007, 3 Bungie employees got to drive a real-life version of the Warthog, and while driving it for fun around in a parking lot, they scrapped the side of it. Another Warthog replica made by Area Group for Halo 4 was downscaled in size by 12% to remain street legal, and also was running on a 1996 Hummer H1 engine with a top speed of 25 miles an hour. Waypoint is the name of the actual in-law UNSC communications network. The Halo Waypoint app on the Xbox 360 had 3 different covers over the years and also had 3 different title screens. The M41 Spanker is 55.4 inches long, 10.2 inches wide, 17.4 inches high, and weighs 24 pounds. There is an Oni agent with the codename Usual Suspects. An excerpt of Halo Class Lens was released in the September 2011 issue of the official Xbox magazine. There were 3 different editions of Halo 4, all 3 came with 2 discs and 2 weeks of Xbox Live Gold. The Halo Reach beta required an Xbox Live Gold account to play matchmaking, however, it was still possible for players to run the beta and customize their Spartans even with an Xbox Live Silver account. The in-law company Bungie Motorworks is possibly a parody of the real-world company BMW, as they have the same initials.
And last but not least, every map is a racetrack.
Fist of the Unicorn is the name of a band that is consisting of members on the UNSC Pillar of Autumn in Halo Combat Evolved, though they probably all died. We see this poster promoting a show for Saturday the 23rd, though we know that the Pillar of Autumn arrives at Installation 04 on Tuesday, September 19th. The band featured specialist Von Kaleta on lead guitars, with a Z, along with a replacement drummer, Private First Class Dimitrov. We don't know why they had to replace their drummer, but they did. However, their music must have been incredibly popular even after the events of Halo, because we do see that the band would have been involved in some way or another in production of the movie 117 Heroes Never Die, which we can see the poster for in Halo 5 Guardians. We don't know to what extent, whether it's surviving band members involved in it, or if they were going to use their music as like an homage to this band. It's pretty vague. However, in Halo 2 Anniversary on the campaign level outskirts, there are posters all over the town advertising for a show of Fluke of the Narwhal, a cover band for the band Fist of the Unicorn. Kind of neat, a little homage band. In one of our Unsolved Halo Mystery videos, we questioned why Guilty Spark doesn't just shoot Master Chief with his laser beam during the events of the mod on Halo Combat Evolved. Like, he obviously doesn't want Master Chief to do the thing, and he's trying to stop him, but he doesn't do anything to stop him. We had that as an unsolved mystery, but actually there might be an answer there. And as it turns out, while Installation 04 was still a thing, Guilty Spark was tied to his Protocol Dictates action operations that he followed, and I guess the action wasn't to shoot him with his laser. I don't know. Apparently that's what the lore says. In the Halo 3 level, the Ark, this may look like a giant wasteland, but technically it's a beach. We've got this like ocean over here, and there's sand. So yeah, I mean, it's a beach. The Engineers, a class of Covenant enemies you fight in ODST and Reach, aren't actually living creatures. They are Forerunner computers that are created out of synthetic materials that emulate real tissue of living creatures, but they are fully non-biological. There are different types of soda in the Halo universe. There's Lemon Lime Blast Soda, which was introduced in Halo 2, Blue, Green, and Orange Soda introduced in Halo 5. There is Cola and Root Beer mentioned mentioned in Combat Evolved. There was Gauss Soda, also introduced in Halo 5, and it shows up in Infinite as well. And also, way back in the Halo 2 days, there was the Rooster Teeth Soda that showed up on the map Turf. Apparently, the map manual for Halo 2 suggests that the stone structures on the map Warlock have been transported from a different location and then rebuilt on that location on Delta Halo, though we don't know what the purpose is of that. Kat, also known as Noble 2 from Halo Reach, joined the military when she was 9 years old. She was 22 at the time of her death. That's a mind-blowing fact. In Halo 2 and 2A, players were introduced to Delta Halo, or Installation 05, for the very first time, and as far as campaigns go, the only times. Though, Halo 3's multiplayer map, Cold Storage, is the only map in Halo 3 to be set on Installation 05. Later on in Halo 5, the map Pegasus and Orion would also be set on Delta Halo as well. On the Halo Combat Evolved level, the Maw, have you ever listened to some of the techno babble that Cortana says towards the end of that level? Well, if you actually look into all the things that Cortana says on this level specifically, you could almost wonder if Cortana is purposefully maybe misleading humanity or Master Chief, or she's just really not good at predicting the outcome of certain things. Let's take a look at exactly what Cortana says. As you know, on the Maw, there's the part where Foehammer comes in asking Cortana if everything was okay, and Cortana replies, negative, we have a wildcat destabilization of the ship's fusion core. The engines must have sustained more damage than we thought. What do you mean more damage than we thought? But just moments before, Cortana was walking us through how to destabilize each fusion reactor, and after the engine goes critical, she says based on the current rate of decay, we should have 15 minutes to get off the ship. We don't have much time. We should move outside and signal for evac. Assessing schematics. There's a service lift at the top of the engine room. It leads to Class 7 service corridor that runs along the ship's dorsal structure. But things still don't quite add up here. Looking through even more dialogue that most players just kind of, I don't know, drink some soda or take a quick bathroom break while the cutscene's playing and not pay attention to what Cortana's saying, makes this whole plan seem a lot less calculated, because just moments before Guilty Spark showed up there, the original plan was to just use the self-destruct sequence on the Pillar of Autumn, and Cortana even says there, that should give us enough time to make it to the lifeboat and put some distance between ourselves and Halo before the detonation. I thought in Pillar of Autumn, there was only one lifeboat left, and even if there were more lifeboats, can you fly them off of a ship that's already landed somewhere? Also, if the plan was to blow up the Halo ring, why didn't Cortana put an evac out way ahead of time to maybe let the rest of the UNSC know that, hey, we're gonna be blowing this Halo ring up? Like, Foehammer just kind of got tuned in at the last second when Cortana needed a convenient ride. Was Cortana doing something sneaky here? Was she maybe still having some plot lines tied in from the original Halo plan where she was more of an antagonist? Even the black screen that pops up where it kind of gives you like the little chapter text name say hitchhikers may be escaping convicts. This actually was a really old popular theory posted on the HaloBungie.org forums by a user named Mark Simmons. And while we won't go any further into speculation territory, I really appreciate getting to kind of look at a story from a completely different angle based on lore that was presented to us in the form of literal cutscenes and game dialogue that a lot of players just kind of brushed past and was like, yeah, let's just go for it. Obviously, it doesn't matter nowadays because this story's formulated the way that it went. Furthermore, into Halo 2 and Halo 3 and onwards, all of the speculation was pretty useless, but it was a cool reason to look closer to the lore. Also, we never actually do have 15 minutes to escape. It's always those 6 or 5 minutes. In the audio log for Sadie's story in Halo 3 ODST, Sadie experiences all 9 circles of hell as represented in Inferno, written by Dante, and the prophet's species, Sanshuum, has the Latin name Perfidia vermis, which translates to worms of treachery. Treachery is the 9th circle of hell in Dante's Inferno, the lowest point in hell, and the only time you see a prophet in Halo 3 ODST is at the very bottom of Data Hive at the end of the game. The company Synoviet is known for making UNSC carriers, but they also have their hands in some other businesses as well, involving technology, manufacturing generators, vehicles. They have offices in New Mombasa, Voi, and Reach, to name a few, and if you ever wondered what the office building of a heavy machinery company looked like in the Halo universe, well, it looks like this. Yeah, Ivory Tower or Reflection. It's the one building you fly in New Alexandria in that one Reach level. They also have a stake in the city sewage business. So that's cool. Moas were actually real animals that lived in New Zealand until their extinction like 150 years ago. In the Halo universe, these animals were discovered upon settling the planet Reach, and since they resembled the Earth's extinct animals, they decided to name them Moas as well. O2 Henzu was a collection of stores that are in New Mombasa in different places, and old Mombasa. I think they were just like small corner stores or convenience stores, but you could see them mostly on turf and also on the level that shares the same looking appearance district. The big tower on the Halo 2 map Relic is actually part of a Forerunner vessel that is hidden below the island. The UNSC wreckage you see on the island are from surveillance team Recon 127 trying to explore the island and being shot down. In the lore, the original Halo CE map, Headlong, is set in the Section 14 district of New Mombasa, but the remake Breakneck from Halo CE Anniversary is set in the Section 21 district. The map Battle Canyon, which was featured in Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary for Reach, is confirmed to serve as some sort of array that enables teleportation across the ring, but it was never confirmed that the Battle Creek variant of the map from the original Combat Evolved had the same intentions. The map Ivory Tower once was the home of a famous socialite named Lance O'Donnell, but was later converted into a public park. But apparently in the lore, Ivory Tower is not the location of the multiplayer map. The multiplayer map is a rebuild, as UNSC analysts thought that the park would be a good layout for Spartan combat, and of course this shares a very strong resemblance to Synoviet Center. In Halo 3 ODST on Oni Alpha site, there is an Oni memorial with a ton of names, and we see some interesting names of characters from the larger Halo lore, like Admiral Preston Cole from the Cole Protocol, Vice Admiral Michael Stanford from Fall of Reach, Dr. Catherine Halsey's here, though we do find out that she's not dead, obviously. And then there's all these other names. Also, in the smaller list of names, there's an Adam Varag, who only has a very small appearance in Halsey's journal, which was part of the special edition versions of Halo Reach as a special add-on item. He wrote a letter to Halsey concerning the pictograms that are commonly found on Sangheili armor. We also see the name Danforth Whitcomb, who appeared in Halo First Strike. And then his next name is probably my favorite reference that I just found out about, but Jason Morelli is listed on here, who is the father of the character Jersey from the I Love Bees story. He was this guy in the little illustration animation I'd made for that video a couple years ago. Oh yeah, also there's a London Bridges. Yeah. Franck's Formed Fish. It's a brand of fish products that have existed in the Halo universe. They have several kinds of processed fish products, including nuggets, fish tacos, and fish pies. And their logo looks like this. And is it a fish? Is it a whale? Well, you decide. It's a quote from Luke Smith back during the Bungie podcast days. It's been about a year since I personally made a discovery in Halo lore. And while there is Halopedia articles talking about different headlines that show up on newspapers across Halo games, no one ever found this one that I found in Coastal Highway, possibly. At least I haven't still seen anyone talk about it other than since my post was made on Twitter. But yeah, it's a newspaper article that says Grunt adopts a baby, and you can see a baby crawling with a pacifier and a grunt. Still a little sad that there's not an exclusive Halopedia page written about this specific newspaper article. I wasn't sure if Luke and I were the first people to discover this, but if you literally type in Grunt adopts baby on Google, the only thing that shows up is my tweet about it a year ago. In the official Halo lore canon, this picture was photographed by the character Benjamin Giraud, who is a photojournalist in the Hunt the Truth audio story log thing they did. It's actually a really good audio story if you haven't listened to it. But yeah, it's just funny to think that the photographer took this picture of Master Chief. Also, during that story, he ends up getting a notice of violation for causing some issues on a flight. And if you look at the actual notice of violation, you can see that the officer name was O'Connor, who gave him the citation. So far in the Halo franchise, there's only a handful of Halo rings that haven't been directly observed or used in a plot within the Halo lore, with the exception of the Halo 3 plot where all of the rings were maybe going to be activated at the same time. But these Halo rings that haven't been a central location or plot point are Beta Halo Installation 01, which is the furthest Halo ring away from all the other ones. Epsilon Halo, which is Installation 02, which may be a water or icy themed Halo ring. We haven't seen any gameplay on the surface of Installation 03 Gamma Halo, though it is that Halo ring that shows up in Halo 4's story, and apparently the UNSC has been doing stuff on the ring, and so had the Didact and like the rest of the Covenant led by Jul Mandama, but we never actually get to see any of that in game, so this one doesn't count, but it is worth noting. Installation 4 is the one from Combat Evolved, also known as Alpha Halo. Installation 5 is the one from Halo 2, known as Delta Halo. Then there's Installation 6, known as Kappa Halo, which we've never seen before. And then Installation 7 is Zeta Halo, the one featured in Halo Infinite. Installation 08 is the replacement to 04 that popped up at the end of Halo 3. And then there's an Installation 09 that had a little plot in Halo Wars 2 that would have been the replacement to Installation 08. On the Halo Reach level reflection, we can actually see some more sodas that we haven't seen before, like the Purple Concoction, Bitter Brown, Red Hotness, Blueberry Blue, Green Sour, the Blackness, and Water. There are different types of drop pods that the UNSC use, also known as single occupant exo-atmospheric insertion vehicles. Some of these have windows, and some of them don't have windows on them. Also, there's a special variant known as long-range stealth orbital insertion pods, which is pretty cool. When the Flood attacked the Forerunner planet DM3-1123b, only about 0.006% of the planetary population was evacuated, meaning only 1,361,466 individuals out of the 226.911 billion survived. We learned that one in a Halo 3 terminal. There's a character known as UNSC Navy Lieutenant Jagger that served under Jacob Keyes in 2552 and was known for being moody and drinking on duty. Yikes. The average height of a Sangheili is between 7 foot 4 inches to 8 feet 6 inches, or 225 to 262 centimeters, and the average weight is between 307 to 393 pounds, or 139 to 178 kilograms. Though across multiple games, while it may seem like there are some lore discrepancies in the height of the elites, this is actually explained by just different posture of elites that are encountered. Like, for instance, in Scale to Master Chief, while in Combat Evolved Anniversary, the elites look a little bit shorter, they really just have their necks prolonged and hunched over more. Halo Reach did a pretty good job, though. This terminal in Halo 2 Anniversary reveals that the Arbiter, during his time as the Supreme Commander dude, before he was the Arbiter, he was responsible for over 1 billion human casualties, which is also a result of the loss of at least 7 human planets. And apparently he also destroyed over 123 human vessels and resulted in the deaths of over 23,000 UNSC personnel. So that's a pretty good kill-death ratio, if you ask me. I always love some of the little odds and ends and detail things we get out of some of the books that aren't massive plot points, but fill in gaps that don't really need to be filled in, but there they are. Like in Halo Bad Blood, it actually fills in the few moments after the final cutscene of Halo 5 Guardians, where Master Chief finally reunites with the Arbiter, and we kind of just get this cool little nod in the cutscene, like, yeah, they're gonna do stuff together in the next game. But what really happens is after this in the books, they have a celebratory meal, and Master Chief introduces his blue team friends to his friend the Arbiter, and then they decide to go head to the Infinity together as a group. Thanks Halo Bad Blood for filling in the gap of a celebratory meal that we never knew happened here. Okay, this next one may be a little bit wild, but it goes pretty deep. It always bothered me a little bit at the end of Halo 3, in the cutscene where Master Chief is driving the Warthog and him and Arbiter are in the little parking garage, and they're like, yeah, we totally made it. And Arbiter runs off to it with the controls. Chief goes and plugs Cortana in so she can hit the engine and they can start flying out of there right away. But why didn't Cortana just close the garage door in the process of all that? I mean, surely Cortana, who has the ability to just activate the engines instantly and fly the ship right out of there while Arbiter starts to, get into the steering position and all of that, has the ability to close the garage door. It's almost like she wants Master Chief to just fly out of the back of the ship. So I thought maybe this could be another example theory of Cortana maybe being evil, but if we look closer to the lore here, or just the things that we see in the games itself, this actually isn't a lore discrepancy or bad writing for Cortana. It's just something else. The reason why, canonically speaking, in the Halo lore, Cortana cannot close this garage door to stop Master Chief from nearly getting hit by a tank and stopping all the vehicles from just flying out of the back of the ship, is because the Forward Unto Dawn and other ships like the Forward Unto Dawn just don't have a garage door on it or a back door. They just fly these things all over the place with this giant open door in the back, and they store their vehicles there, and apparently they don't fall out. We actually looked into this during a live stream and started to have these revelations on stream where we're breaking down trying to figure out why the garage door couldn't be closed by Cortana, and it's not Cortana's fault. She literally can't close the door because there is no door. Look, when they come and deliver you the vehicles in the level The Ark, it's this little elevator thing that drops down, but sure enough, you can see the back door is just open there. And then, if you watch the cutscene at the end of The Storm, you can see that these babies just go into this huge firefight with their little door open in the back. How do they stop all of these boxes and vehicles from flying out every single time they fly literally anywhere? I don't know. But here's what we do know. This ship was designed by Synoviet, the same company that has that weird building in Reach. They apparently have the sewers of Bazaar in Halo Infinite down, and in my opinion, are not very good at designing certain aspects of their ships. So somehow we've come full circle on this video.